Is RVing cheaper than traditional travel? We just finished a 5,000-mile trip where we hit 5 national parks, pulling our camper, staying, enjoying it, very comfortable. But could we have done it cheaper had we flown and rented and got hotels or an Airbnb? Or had we just driven our car that gets 35 miles to a gallon and done the same? We dug into the numbers. You'll be shocked at what we found. But right now, we're getting ready to go to Pymatuning State Park, a state park we've not been to here in Ohio. So we got to get hitched up and get ready to roll. All right, well, it's a new day. And like all great YouTubers, we didn't video at all yesterday when we got here. So I do want to talk about the cost of travel with an RV versus traditional travel, flying, getting the car, hotel. And the parameters are basically going to be set at, we're going to calculate fuel costs for the truck. And it's based on 2 people, Joni and I. Fuel costs, our stay, which will be a campground or a hotel, and then the food that we eat. And with an RV, you can pretty much decide when you want to eat out or not. So that's going to be the 3 parameters. We had to add in a rental car for the one section where you fly in, get a rental car, and it's based on going from our home area, Ohio, to Utah for this trip that we did, basically almost 5,000 miles, 5 national parks. We're not going to put in any costs for excursions because we would have done them no matter how we traveled. But we do want to see, is it cheaper to take an RV on a trip, or is it cheaper to go to the normal way of transportation? So let's find out. Let's crunch into those numbers.
Thanks for cooking.
All right, so the first category we're going to do is, had Joni and I flown on this trip from Columbus, Ohio to Denver, I looked for the cheapest flight, had to rent a car to drive this whole trip we did, which was almost 5,000 miles, like 4,800 miles. And both scenarios, if we drive from our home or rented a car, we're using 30 miles to a gallon and $2.90 per gallon for the price of the fuel for gas. So that's our parameter that we set. We think it's a pretty good average. So had Joni and I had to fly, the airline tickets alone would have been $936 for the 2 of us round trip, which isn't too bad. That's actually a pretty good price. The car rental alone, so to get the car for 16 days, actually, yeah, 16 days, it would have been $302, and that's a mid-size SUV. And we just decided at 30 miles to a gallon because that's safe. Well, we'll deal with it in the next category. So fuel for that car, and I only did 1,600 miles versus 47, because for us, the 4,700 miles was us pulling our camper out there and back. That's 3,200 plus. We drove a ton out there. So just basically 1,600 miles to drive that trip. At 30 miles to a gallon, $2.90 a gallon would have been $160. So that's really not too bad, actually. Now, here's where it comes in for food. The food side of this, I averaged $75 a day for the 2 styles, if you had to fly or if you drove your own car. Because a lot of times a hotel gives you a free breakfast, and $75 a day for 2 meals is actually pretty cheap. But if you didn't have a lunch, so I just averaged it out, $75 a day, because we had a breakfast that was $50. when we was there. So just understand the parameter of the food is $75 per day. So for those amount of days, it averaged out to $1,000.50 for, or $1,050, sorry. So for those days of travel, it was $1,050 for food. And that was covering all meals, anything you want to eat. And then for a hotel, the hotel stays I averaged at $125 a night, because I've found some that were cheaper, but we found a lot that were more expensive. And these generally being in a very touristy area where your national parks are, in a town like Moab and down in Mesa Verde and those other places we went, the average is generally higher. So I averaged it out a little low at $125 a night for 14 nights. And that came out to $1,750. So the total, if Joni and I would have flown, rented a car, did our trip just like we did, had the meals we wanted, our hotel, that total would have been $4,198 for this 2-week trip, which you might say that's not bad. 5 national parks, all that time out, $4,198. Sounds like a pretty good trip. But that right there is the cost for traveling by plane, renting a car, doing a trip, hotel, and then drive back to the airport, fly back home, and then all the food involved. So that right there is our first category. We'll meet you back here when I'm prepping for lunch, and we'll do the second category where we drive from our home using our own car. All right, guys, so I am here preparing for dinner tonight. Got some ribs going. We want to go over the next section of what our trip would have been had we driven our car. So with driving a car, you're going to have the expense of not only driving your car, but the fuel, extra fuel for it, and also the price of a hotel, and then your food. So to just jump right into it, we had to use the full mileage that we used. So we used 4,800 miles, and we did it at 30 miles to a gallon at $2.90 a gallon for gas. And the cost for fuel would have been $455 for the trip in our car. And we have a Civic, so, but it gets more than 30. So I'm just going off a 30-mile average, which doesn't seem too bad. That's not too bad for a 10 or 12-day trip. You know, the hardest part about doing ribs is to get this silver skin off, and I'm struggling right now. But the next part of the trip would have been for the meals. So $75 a day average for meals, and that's the same price as if you would have been flying. So it was $1,050. So that is to cover all the meals. After meals, we have our stays, so hotels. So with the hotels, at $125 a night average, it would have cost $1,750 for the 14 nights. So that was just a little bit more than, no, it's the same price as the other one, because we went off of 14 nights. Same price as the other one. But then you don't have a car rental or any of that. So the actual price for this one total, so if you remember the last one, the total was $4,198. If we would have driven from our home, did this whole trip, it would have cost us $3,255. So that is a roughly $900 savings to take our car versus fly, which would have been the cost of the flight. The flight was $936. So now we have 2 modes of travel: flying, renting a car, hotel, and then the second mode being if we would have driven our car from our home and done the whole trip, the same trip, at $32.55. So next, we will be giving you the cost of what it actually cost us for our trip with our RV, and that's nothing held back. And we put our boondocking stays, which were either Harvest Hosts or RV overnights, those costs into the stays. Some of them were restaurants, could have been under food, but the requirement with those is to spend $30. But we actually just did what we actually spent, and we put it under our stays. So stay tuned for that one. All right, y'all, so we are going to head over. There's a little festival or something going on here at Pymatooning. We're going to take our e-bikes, go meet up with everybody. Then when we get back, we'll get to the real cost of what it costs for us to take our RV out west, 4,800 miles, 5 national parks. And the ribs are smoking away.
I'm already hungry.
Yep, so let's roll.
Hey, there's your Navy flag. I don't know what the red one is. Is this what you call a small biker gang? That's pretty cool. I love seeing all these e-bikes like this. That's awesome.
Here's our little biker gang.
Oh, you need that.
Eric, you get in there and do that too. Do the guitars.
I'd say that's a fun little festival to go to. And we just learned that they do this every year, the first weekend in August. So if this is something you might be interested in and you're in the area, this will be a lot of fun to do. Is there 4 still there?
Huh?
Are 4 still there?
Yeah.
Go and tell time.
So this is after 2.5 hours. Really nice color. Another half hour we're going to be wrapping, and then then they're really going to cook. Okay, we just checked on the ribs. Now the good stuff. What was the actual cost of our trip with our RV compared to the other 2 styles of travel? All right, so with the RV, you don't have to fly. We didn't have to rent any vehicles. We literally just have fuel, food, and the campgrounds. So for fuel and diesel, and because we use our open roads card, I think we only filled up 1 time without our open roads card, which is really good. We set a budget of like $1,500 for fuel. We came in at $1,384 of fuel, mainly because of the open roads card. It saved us well over $100 in
We probably need
fuel.
to add that number up for them.
Yeah. And then food. The beauty is with RVing, you can choose to eat out or not. We carried food with us. We ate out on occasions when we wanted to, especially like the pizza place that we went to in Moab. That was really cool. The Moab Diner. Moab Diner was a little crazy atmosphere, but it was good food. But for food, I think we only ate out 6 times total for the whole 2 weeks. And that was $725. I may be off on the amount of times we ate out, but $725 in food. And then finally, for all of our stays throughout the time, from our Harvest Host RV overnights to our campgrounds, it cost us $835 for those, for a grand total of $2,944 for the trip. So, just to recap, if we would have flown, had to rent a car, hotels and food, $41.98. Had we driven our own Civic, $32.55. But because of our RV and our truck, $2,944. Big difference there. So when you hear that RVing is not cheaper than normal travel, I think we've got the numbers to prove it.
And we're more comfortable because we have our own bedding,
Exactly.
our own towels, our own bed,
Yeah.
our own mattress.
Now just remember, these numbers are based on Joni and I traveling And all those 3 different ways, just the 2 of us traveling. If you have a family, it's different. If your car actually gets less than 30 miles to a gallon, it's going to be different for fuel. Some places fuel's higher, so we just tried to take an average of everything, except for that last number. That's exactly what we spent for this trip.
Now, the other caveat to all of it is when you do fly and rent a car, you do save time. So you could limit the amount of days that you're out, which could save you money, but
Yes.
I don't know if it would even bring it to a wash or not. So that we didn't really look at it that way. Like, we just spent the
I just
same
looked
amount
at
of time
flying out on the day we left and flying back the day we returned home.
So I would say, like, maybe you would save maybe $1,000 if you shortened it and did the same things and versus the way we drove out.
So there you have it. To me, to us, RVing is the right way to travel. It's not that way for everybody. But if you don't have an RV and you're interested, this is a good place to start, knowing that you can save money and still be completely comfortable when you travel. Now it's time to get these ribs done, wrapped, and eaten.
Absolutely.
They look like they still.
Happy glamping.
Don't show me I'm eating.